You're listening to the Feed You podcast. This is episode 11.
Welcome to the Feed You podcast, giving you the real scoop on raising your business to new heights. Expert education, inspiration, and motivation to fuel your purpose, your passion, and your profits. Here's your host, Alisa Connor.
Hello, and welcome to the Feed You podcast. I'm Alisa Connor, and I'm your host, and I am so excited to have you here. It is, as you're listening to this, the day before Thanksgiving, and I'm sure all of you are immersed in getting ready to cook your turkeys and gather your families and friends and just really enjoy appreciating the people in your life. So with that in mind, I wanted to take a minute and talk about gratitude and how to increase the amount of gratitude and abundance in your life. And I just wanted to start with a story and tell you a little bit about an exercise that I've been doing recently. I've been working with a particular coach, and one of her foundational exercises is to work on gratitude. And I've worked on gratitude for quite a long time. Probably 3 or 4 years ago, I started a gratitude journal where I sit and start every day, and I either write down 3 to 5 things I'm grateful for, or, in some way I give gratitude. And then it's been over a year ago. So about a year and a half ago, I actually started a surprise gift for my kids, and every night I write something in there that I'm grateful for about them. And then I'm actually going to give that to them at Christmas, and I'm hoping that they'll appreciate it. I wanted to do it. I was going to stop after a year, but then I just kept going. And I'm like, I'm just going to keep going till Christmas. So on Christmas Eve, I'll write my last one in there, and then I'm going to stick it in their stocking. But it is such a gift to give to people when you deliver them something like that, because people don't often realize the impact that they have on one another. And that same gift of gratitude goes really far in your business. So let me share with you one of the practices that I have been doing for the last, maybe month and a half. Every morning before I open my eyes, I just start the day with thanking God, the universe, the divine, however you want to refer to the higher power, for simple things like thank you for my eyes, thank you for my nose so I can smell things, thank you for my mouth so I can speak and I can swallow and I can taste things, thank you for my ears so I can hear the sound of the birds or the snow pelting against the window or anyone's voice that I'm listening to that day, and just kind of go through that exercise. And it's amazing how starting your day with that before you ever put your feet on the ground will change your day and impact your life. So I'm sharing it with you because I really hope that you'll consider that during this holiday season. It's really easy to get wrapped up in material things and not have appreciation for all that we've already been given. And all it takes is just a few minutes to look around, even in our own country, and not even leaving the United States, but, looking at our own country and looking at how much more we have than some other people, and just being really grateful for that. So with that in mind, I want to start this episode and talk to you a little bit about grounding and gratitude and how that can impact your business. And then I'm going to share with you the results of the little exercise that I just shared with you that I've been doing for about the last month and a half. So grounding is really, really important in today's society and in the world we live in. It is very easy to become ungrounded and to feel scattered and spacey and distracted and unfocused and stressed out, because when you are not grounded and you're not connected down into the earth, really, the earth is our grounding center, and we don't take that time to breathe and really connect down into the earth center, we can't accomplish what we've come here to accomplish. So during the holiday season, I think it's even amplified more because we have so many more activities. We have so many more people needing our attention and calling on us. And if we don't gift ourselves the opportunity to just take time to get centered and really dig deep into our roots of the earth, which is our home, then we're going to go crazy. We're going to be angry. We're going to be stressed out. We're going to be tired. We'll probably get sick. So I want to talk to you a little bit about that. And then I actually have some suggestions on how you can ground yourself. And they're all very, really, really very easy. So let me reference grounding to the earth. Let me kind of define what that means. So the earth is, it's the place where we live, but we take it for granted because we have a lot of concrete and we have a lot of buildings and skyscrapers. And so we've really kind of become disconnected with the earth. And that is why I think that there's so much going on as far as mental health and even physical illness, is because we have become disconnected with that grounds us. And so if you're looking at it from the perspective of, say, a household electronic appliance, every single electronic item and even an outlet has a ground wire in it, because if there's a short circuit, it can cause a fire or whatever. But without that ground wire to really connect it to the ground, it really connects it and absorbs the electricity into the ground. Without that, if you touch that electrical box or that outlet or that appliance or power tool or whatever, and it doesn't have a connection to the ground, you become that connection, and it can cause a shock and even electrocution. And so we have to have those ground wires for the everyday things that we use. Well, from our perspective, our bodies are already short circuiting and we're overloaded, and we have a lot of stimuli from telephones and the internet and televisions and even cars and people, and all of the energetic things around us can disrupt our circuit and short circuit it. And it can cause us to be distracted and spacey and unfocused and angry. And it even leads to bigger issues like depression and disorders, mental health disorders and physical disorders, because your body will eventually react to the emotion in a physical way so that it gets your attention. So when we connect to the earth regularly, and I say daily, that helps to ground and rebalance our systems. And it sounds like it's a little new age, but really we came from the earth. And I think as a society, we are pulling further and further away from that earth energy. So I want to give you some suggestions on ways to ground yourself. And these are really simple suggestions and really easy to implement into your life. Even if you couldn't do it every day, you could do it weekly, but really it's not hard to do it every day. So the first one is you want to do some mindful walking, and you want to do it outdoors if possible. And if the next suggestion is if you live somewhere in a warm climate, try to do it without shoes, so you're actually touching the earth, whether it's grass or dirt or whatever earth you can find. And that may be, a park or something like that, but try to get off of asphalt and cement. And even if you can't, go for a walk, and as you're walking, observe nature. And when you really start to do that and you take the time to just almost meditatively look at all of the things in nature and how they work together, and how the circle of life is present there, and all of that stuff, it really makes you connect to, oh, I'm part of this circle and I'm part of this bigger scheme of things. So that's my first suggestion, is to take a mindful walk. The second is, I do this daily when I meditate, is when you're in your meditation position, whether that's a chair or you're on a meditation cushion or even in your bed, is to visualize roots growing out of your root chakra, which is right at the base of your spine, and just growing deep into the earth and pulling you deeply into the earth. It's helpful if you have both feet on the ground if you're sitting. And you can even do it where you can bend your knees and have your feet flat on whatever surface you're laying on. But just visualize those roots growing deep into the earth, and then having the opposite effect, where out of the top of your head, you're having your spine pulled forward towards the sky, and it's going to lengthen your spine automatically. But the other piece of that is then you have both the sacral chakra, reaching towards the sky so that your highest good is engaged with your connection to the earth. So you're always doing what is truly in your soul, but also you're connecting it so you're staying to walk your path on the earth. So that's the second, is that visualization exercise. And then the third is I do a lot of yoga. And so there are a lot of yoga poses you can do, even if you're not particularly limber. There are a lot of yoga poses you can do that ground you into the earth. One is mountain pose, where you actually just stand firmly in your feet with your at hips distance apart. And you have your arms raised to the sky or even straight down, and your palms open. And just standing there for a few minutes will really ground you into the earth. But my favorite yoga pose that really kind of connects you to the earth is called tree pose. And if you want to know more about tree pose, I will actually put a link in the show notes for a visual of tree pose. But it's basically standing on one leg and then pulling your other leg to a triangular pose, so that it's either on your ankle, on your calf, or on your thigh muscle. And then you have the ability to ground yourself, by holding onto a wall if you don't have the stability to stand. Or if you practice the pose and get better at it, you can lift your arms straight up into the air and actually wave just like a tree would. But it connects you with the earth, and it connects you into the ground through that leg. And it's really balancing. So those are my 3 suggestions on how to ground yourself. I also have, I did some research on finding some essential oils that can help you in grounding. So if you're sitting at your desk and you're feeling really overwhelmed and you're like, I don't have time to do yoga, or you can't do yoga because you're in an office setting or whatever, you can carry with you some essential oils. And essential oils that are grounding, interestingly enough, come from trees or tree type products. So the ones that I came across are myrrh, sandalwood, patchouli, frankincense, and spruce. So if you just take those, and you can even create a blend that you can spray, or you can put it in a roller ball and put those on. But it's going to immediately center you and ground you and help you kind of calm your nervous system naturally. And then last but not least, I have some crystals that you can place around you or put on your person for grounding. And those are black tourmaline and selenite. And you can find all of those things online. There's many, many retailers for all of those things. You can even go to Amazon for the essential oils. And then crystals, you want to find at, a local rock store or even a metaphysical store. They'll have both of those. So that's stuff you can do in your office to help you be grounded. Now, the next piece of this is I really wanted to talk about, after you're grounded, how you give gratitude and how gratitude can help you become grounded. But first, I wanted to share with you some scientific information that came from Psychology Today about gratitude, because we're just like, well, gratitude, yeah, that's a nice thing to do. But they've actually done research to determine that gratitude will improve your life. And so some of the things they came up with were the use of gratitude on a regular basis will open the door to more relationships. Well, why wouldn't it? If you are, grateful to the people around you, even if it's somebody holding the door for you, the opportunity for you to say thank you to them will probably lead them to the next action of being grateful towards someone else. It's just a natural reaction. And it's really hard to react to someone's gratitude in an angry or upset way. People can seem indifferent, but really, if you are grateful to them, you don't know what kind of impact you'll make to them later. Number 2, gratitude has been proven to improve your physical health because you're happier and you don't have as much stress because you're not focused on the negative. You're focused on gratitude. So I thought that was very interesting that your physical health is impacted so much by gratitude. And I'm going to link to the article that I found to get these statistics so that you can go look at all the details about the scientific study that they did about all of these different impacts for your life. The third one is that gratitude actually improves your psychological health as well. And that makes sense because, it's for the same reason. The more you focus on something, the more your brain attracts to it. And the more you attract to gratitude, the more appreciative you are and the more appreciative things that will show up in your life. It's just like a magnet. The more you appreciate things and you're grateful for things, the more of those things are going to be attracted into your life because that's where you're putting your energy. That's where you're putting your focus. Whereas if you're focusing on the negative and you're focusing on not having enough money and you're focusing on all the bad things, you're only going to draw more of that in because your subconscious doesn't know any better and it will attract what you focus on. And we've already talked about in this podcast that your subconscious controls 95% of the game. So just by implementing gratitude into your daily routine, it's going to change. It can't not change your life. It also increases your empathy towards other people because you can look at them and say, when you're grateful for what you have and you look at them and you realize they don't have as much, you can be empathetic to them and you can understand a little bit more about, how lucky you are to have what you have. And it gives you more appreciation for what you have. Number 5 is that you actually sleep better when you're grateful and you list off those things that you're grateful for before you go to bed. Even if you write them down and you journal them out or whatever works for you to process your day. If you get all of those things out and that's what you're focused on before you go to bed, you're actually going to have a better night's rest and you will sleep longer and without interruption. Gratitude also improves your self-esteem. How could it not? You're happy, you're grateful, you're feeling good about life and about yourself. And the more you focus on that, the less you focus on the things that aren't in alignment, the things that you want to change. And instead of, saying to yourself, you need to lose weight, you need to lose 50 pounds because your pants don't fit or whatever that is, you're more grateful for, oh, I'm really glad I have pants to wear. I'm really glad I have enough food to eat because there are people just, an hour away or 15 minutes away that are living on the street and don't have food. Or I'm really glad I get to use a bathroom and I don't have to worry about where is the next place I'm going to go to the bathroom because I don't have a home. Or you look at the people in Yemen who are starving to death, their children are starving to death, and you have gratitude that you have enough food to eat. And so, yes, you are lucky enough to not have your pants fit. Do you see how that shifts the way that we look at things, the way that we approach life, the way that we move forward? And then last but not least, gratitude increases your mental strength. And it really enables you to focus on decreasing your stress. Well, one, it decreases your stress, but it also helps you overcome difficult circumstances, even to the effect of them being traumatic. And you become more resilient because you're thankful and you're grateful even during the hardest times of your life. And when you can be thankful during those times and be grateful during those times, you have less to complain about. You don't think about, complaining because you're grateful for what you have. And it really makes you more resilient and gives you a stronger mental strength. So those are some of the findings that they had, the scientific findings of gratitude. But I wanted to give you guys and leave you guys with a few exercises that you can do to create more gratitude in your life. Number one is I use an app called Insight Timer. I'm not sure if you're familiar with Insight Timer. You can get it on your phone, either Android or iPhone, the Apple Store. But it's called Insight Timer, and I'll put a link in the show notes for this. But they have it's a meditation app, so there are many meditation options in there. But if you search for gratitude meditation, you will find that they have meditations just on gratitude. And if you just listen to that, and most of them are really short, 5-10 minutes. And if you just listen to that every day and you give gratitude and you start your day or end your day or both with that gratitude, you're going to see a shift in your life. I guarantee it. And then the exercise that I spoke about earlier when I started this podcast was this: get in the habit of saying thank you 10 times before you open your eyes for all the blessings in your life. And I'm going to tell you in just a minute how that has had an impact on my life and specifically my business. And then another option is to say thank you to all the parts of your body that perform for you on a daily basis without complaining. Even things as simple as your lungs and your heart that you take for granted, that, pump blood through your body and help you breathe, and just things we take for granted. Once you become grateful for those, and you start to realize the people that don't have that luxury, that maybe they're on oxygen or they're waiting for a lung transplant or whatever that is, it makes you much more aware of how much you actually have. My next recommendation is to make and fill a gratitude jar and put things in there every day that you're grateful for. And as you write them down, and when you're having a down day, because not every day is going to be an up day, you can pull out a few of the papers or the slips of paper and read them and just remember, oh, I am grateful for that, because it will remind you, even when you feel like there's nothing you can be grateful for, it will remind you of all of the things you've had or have in your life to be grateful for. You can take a gratitude walk. So when you're taking that grounding walk, and as you're walking around nature and you're hearing the birds chirp and you're seeing the trees, or maybe you see the leaves on the trees or off the trees, depending on the time of year, or even the snowfall or snow on the ground, just be grateful or express your gratitude, even if it's in your own mind, for all of those pieces of nature. Where I live, I'm so lucky because we have, beautiful mountains nearby, and we have a lake nearby, and I have a lot of nature that I can look at on a daily basis and be grateful for. But even if you're in a big city and you don't have as much nature around you, just find a park nearby, or find, some open space or whatever you can find, and just appreciate everything in that park. I'm thinking of Central Park in particular in New York City. And even though, you have skyscrapers all around you when you're in Central Park, when you go into that park, it's so beautiful. And they have the horses, and they have, acres and acres of green grass and trees, and just all the different things that you can look at and embrace and give gratitude for. So wherever you are, there is some bit of nature there, and just take a few minutes and imagine what the world would be like without it. And that will also help you appreciate the things that are in your circle even more. And then last but not least, I recommend doing this on a regular basis, but write a letter to somebody who has positively impacted your life, thanking them, because everybody has a role model or somebody that's played an integral part in their life. And it can even just be a card, a handwritten card, but to receive that is such a gift. And I've received those several times throughout my life, but I've also written them several times throughout my life. And I remember specifically, this just came into my head right before my dad died. And my dad had brain cancer toward the end of his life. And so this was written, I wrote him a letter basically, and it was pretty long. And I gave it to him, when we found out he was pretty much that he was not going to be around much longer. And I wrote him a letter, and I just said to him all the things in this letter that I was grateful for, that I got to be his daughter, and the things that he taught me, and all of the lessons and pieces of my life that he impacted. And I don't know if, he really understood with, having brain cancer at that time, but I still look back on that and am so grateful that I wrote it, even if he understood a part of it, because it helped me to really solidify the role he had in my life. And I think whenever we can write a letter like that, whether it's to a teacher or a friend or a mentor or a parent or a child or whoever that is, when you write those notes, and they don't have to be long, they don't have to be 10 pages long, but you write those notes to people, they may not ever say anything, but it will impact them. There's no way that it cannot. So take time, even during this holiday season, to write those letters and give those as a gift. People appreciate knowing that they're appreciated. So I didn't want to leave you hanging, and I want to tie this back into business, even though I'm giving you a lot of calls to action in this episode. I have noticed in specifically the last 2 months, but even over the last 3 to 4 years, the more often that I give gratitude and I am thankful, the more my business grows. And I mean monetarily grows. And so when I started the gratitude exercise of saying what I'm grateful for, and I usually do about 20 different things that I'm grateful for before I open my eyes. In the last 2 weeks, I have gotten 3 major clients, and that is awesome because I was coming off of a really slow period in my business, and I really attribute it to creating that energy around those new clients. And so now when I receive money or I receive a new client or whatever that looks like, however that new client appears, I immediately say, thank you, thank you, thank you. And my friend Terry, who I just love dearly, she did an episode on this podcast earlier. She has a saying that she has us use when we work with her. And it's like, thank you so much for this. How much better can it get? And I really love that saying, whether you are saying it out of gratitude or whatever, but because it flips the switch on poor me, poor sad this, poor that, whatever, to how much better can it get? Like, it is, no matter how you look at it, no matter what perspective you're in, I want you to ask yourself, how much better can this be? Or this is turning out even better than I can imagine. Because those 2 sayings will shift your perspective, and it puts you smack in the middle of being grateful. So I want to wish each and every one of you a very, very happy Thanksgiving tomorrow. And I want to express my gratitude to you for every single one of you that listens to this podcast and tunes in and likes and subscribes. I really, really appreciate you. And I know you have ways and options of spending your time and your energy. And for you to come and listen to me and the people that I interview really means the world to me. So I'm wishing you a very, very happy Thanksgiving, and I am so, so grateful for you. I will see you next week. I have another interview coming, and I can't wait for you to tune in and learn some more. So in the meantime, happy Thanksgiving, and may your day be blessed, and may you find many, many things to be grateful for. Take care. Thanks for listening to the Feed You Podcast at www.alisaconnor.com/podcast.